Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy, Mr. Beast, here with Unknown Facts, and today we're diving into a topic that's a little bit different, a little bit wild, and definitely gonna keep you on the edge of your seats. We're talking about the top 10 most dangerous neighborhoods in the entire world. Make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the craziness we're about to uncover. We're going to take you on a journey to some of the most intense and unbelievable places on Earth. Let's do it. First up, we're heading south of the border to Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. This city, located right across from El Paso, Texas, has become infamous for its drug cartel activity. We're talking about some of the most ruthless criminal organizations in the world, fighting for control of drug trafficking routes. Imagine living in a place where shootouts happen in broad daylight, where the police are outgunned and outmatched, and where fear is a constant companion. That's the reality for the people of Ciudad Juarez. The violence here is no joke, and it's fueled by a multi-billion-dollar drug trade. The Sinaloa cartel, once led by the infamous El Chapo, has been a major player in the violence that has plagued this city. They traffic everything from cocaine and heroin to fentanyl and methamphetamines. The streets of Ciudad Juarez have seen it all: car bombs, assassinations, and mass kidnappings. Innocent people, families just trying to live their lives, often get caught in the crossfire. The Mexican government has tried to crack down on the cartels, but it's a constant battle and the violence seems never ending. Next up, we're traveling to South America, to a city that was once a thriving metropolis but has fallen on hard times. Caracas, Venezuela, is now considered one of the most dangerous cities in the world. Venezuela's economic collapse has fueled a surge in crime that's turned Caracas into a nightmare. We're talking about hyperinflation so bad that people have to carry around bags of cash just to buy basic necessities. And when people are desperate, they do desperate things. Murder is rampant in Caracas. The city has one of the highest murder rates in the world, and it's not just gang members killing each other. Robberies often turn deadly, and kidnappings for ransom are a constant threat. Imagine walking down the street knowing that at any moment you could be robbed, kidnapped, or even killed. The Venezuelan government seems powerless to stop the violence. From South America, we're heading to the southern tip of Africa, to a city known for its stunning natural beauty but plagued by a dark underbelly. Cape Town, South Africa, is a city of contrasts, where extreme wealth exists alongside grinding poverty, and it's in these impoverished areas known as townships where gang violence reigns supreme. Cape Town is home to hundreds of gangs, all vying for control of territory, drugs, and weapons. Imagine living in a community ruled by fear, where gunshots ring out at night, and where children grow up witnessing unspeakable violence. These gangs are ruthless, and they don't hesitate to use violence to get what they want. They recruit young children, some as young as 10 years old, and turn them into soldiers in their turf wars. Poverty, inequality, and unemployment all contribute to the cycle of violence. Our next stop takes us to Central America, to a city that has earned the grim title of Murder Capital of the World. San Pedro Sula, Honduras, is a city where violence is a part of everyday life. This city has been ravaged by gang violence, fueled by poverty, corruption, and the drug trade. The two most powerful gangs in Honduras, Mississippi, 13 and Barrio 18, have turned San Pedro Sula into a war zone. Imagine living in a city where you're more likely to be murdered than to die in a car accident. The murder rate here is staggering, and it's not just gang members killing each other. Innocent people, including women and children, are often caught in the crossfire. Extortion is rampant, and businesses are forced to pay war taxes to the gangs just to stay open. The police force is outmatched and outgunned by the gangs, and corruption is rampant within the government itself. It's a dangerous combination, and it's left the people of San Pedro Sula living in a state of constant fear. We're heading back to Mexico, to another border city that has become synonymous with drug cartel violence. Tijuana, located just south of San Diego, California, is a city caught in the crosshairs of the drug war. Tijuana is a major transit point for drugs entering the United States, and the cartels are constantly fighting for control of the lucrative smuggling routes. This has turned the city into a battleground, with shootouts, kidnappings, and executions happening on a regular basis. Imagine living in a city where you can hear gunshots echoing through the streets at night, where bodies turn up in ditches, and where the threat of violence is always present. The cartels operate with impunity in Tijuana, bribing or threatening anyone who stands in their way. The police are often outgunned and outmatched, and the fear of cartel retaliation keeps many people from speaking out. The Mexican government has launched numerous operations against the cartels in Tijuana, but the violence continues. You might be surprised to find a U.S. city on this list, but the reality is that even in the United States, there are places where violence is a part of everyday life. St. Louis, Missouri, has earned the unfortunate title of America's murder capital, and for good reason. St. Louis has struggled with poverty, segregation, and gang violence for decades, and these factors have contributed to its high murder rate. The city has a long history of racial tension, and this has fueled a cycle of violence that seems to have no end. Imagine living in a city where you're afraid to walk down the street at night, where you hear gunshots on a regular basis, and where you know that your life could be cut short at any moment. The city has seen a surge in gun violence in recent years, and the police are struggling to keep up. Many residents feel trapped, unable to escape the cycle of poverty and violence that has plagued their city for generations. The roots of Baltimore's violence run deep, and it will take a multifaceted approach to address them effectively. We're heading back to South America, to a city on the coast of Brazil that has become synonymous with gang violence. Fortaleza is a city of beautiful beaches and a vibrant culture, but it's also a city where danger lurks around every corner. Fortaleza is home to numerous powerful gangs, all vying for control of drug trafficking, extortion, and other criminal enterprises. These gangs operate with brutal efficiency, enforcing their rule with violence and intimidation. Imagine living in a city where you're afraid to leave your house at night, where businesses are forced to pay protection money to gangs, and where the sound of gunshots is a regular occurrence. The Brazilian government has tried to crack down on the gangs in Fortaleza, but with limited success. The gangs are deeply entrenched in the city's fabric, and their influence extends even into the police force and government. From the beaches of Brazil, we're heading to the Caribbean island of Jamaica, to a city known for its reggae music and laid-back vibe. But beneath the surface, Kingston, Jamaica, is grappling with a serious gang problem. Kingston's gangs are often linked to political parties, and they control vast swaths of the city, operating with impunity. They're involved in drug trafficking, extortion, and gun running, and they don't hesitate to use violence to protect their turf. Imagine living in a community where you're afraid to speak out against the gangs, where you fear for the safety of your family, and where you know that the police may not be able to protect you. The Jamaican government has launched numerous operations against the gangs, but the violence continues. We're back in Mexico, this time to a city that was once a glamorous tourist destination but has fallen victim to the drug war. Acapulco, known for its beautiful beaches and vibrant nightlife, is now a city living in fear. Acapulco has become a major battleground for rival drug cartels, all vying for control of the lucrative drug trafficking routes that run through the city. The violence has escalated in recent years, turning Acapulco into one of the most dangerous cities in Mexico. Imagine visiting a city for a relaxing vacation and finding yourself caught in the crossfire of a cartel shootout. The cartels operate with impunity, and the violence they unleash is often indiscriminate. The Mexican government has deployed troops to Acapulco in an attempt to restore order, but the violence continues. And finally, we return to the United States, to a city that has become synonymous with urban decay and violence. Baltimore, Maryland, is a city of contrasts, with a rich history and culture, but also a dark underbelly of crime and poverty. Baltimore has struggled with poverty, drug addiction, and gang violence for decades, and these factors have contributed to its high murder rate. The city has seen a surge in violence in recent years, fueled in part by the opioid epidemic and a lack of economic opportunity. Imagine living in a city where you're afraid to let your children play outside, where you hear gunshots on a daily basis, and where you feel like you're living in a war zone. The city has tried various approaches to combat the violence, from increased police presence to community outreach programs, but the problem persists. Wow guys, we just went on a wild ride through some of the most intense places on Earth. From the cartel-ridden streets of Mexico to the gang-controlled neighborhoods of the United States, we've seen the dark side of humanity up close and personal. It's crazy to think that these places exist, but it's important to remember that behind the statistics, there are real people with real stories. I hope this video has opened your eyes to the realities of life in some of the world's most dangerous neighborhoods. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more mind-blowing content. Until next time, stay safe out there.